If you are based in Lagos State, Nigeria, then this video is specially for you. You need to watch till the end of this video to get all the juicy details of the new guidelines that the governor of Lagos State has put in place moving forward from May 4th to contain the spread of coronavirus in Lagos. Now, if you had watched the last two videos I posted on my channel about the presidential address, remember I mentioned in that video that the president gave his own guidelines for the nation in general. He also announced that each government of each state in Nigeria is free to tweak the guidelines and also add to the guidelines in a very, very conducive way that is tailored to meet the needs of their own state. So yesterday, Governor Babajide Sanwo Olu, the governor of Lagos State, announced the new guidelines for Lagos State. And according to him, these new guidelines are for a controlled easing of the lockdown in Lagos and in other states in Nigeria as well. So I'm gonna read them out and I'm gonna explain them to you, the pros and the cons of each of the new guidelines. So the first one is that public service workers from grades 1 to 12 will continue to work from home, while grades 13 and above will be on a flexible roster managed by the head of service. So if you are a public service worker in any of those grades, now you know if you are meant to leave your houses to go to to your office to work, or if you are meant to work from home. The next one is primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions will remain closed. Now, students are expected to continue learning on alternative media and online channels. Now, do I think that this is actually really, really feasible? Do I think it's going to really, really work? Well, I doubt, because the Nigerian educational system has not grown to that level of innovation, where students are able to learn online from home. I know that in other countries abroad, especially in the UK, I have a friend there, whose kids are learning on Zoom. So the question is, if this is the new system, as the governor made provisions for new technologies or introduced new technologies to all of these institutions, for them to understand that, okay, this is the new modus operandi. I don't know, guys, if you understand, but what are your opinions about that? I'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to drop your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. The third new guideline is that corporate firms, banks, malls, and local markets are allowed to reopen within the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. under an enforced framework called controlled easing phase, and to operate at a capacity of 60% of their staff on the premises and 40% working from home. For corporate firms, well, I believe it's going to work. For banks, I believe it's going to work, because I understand that banks can control the crowds that get into their premises and into the banking halls, from even outside the banks. So I know that it will work. For malls, well, we need like a very, very strict measure to ensure that it works. Because take for instance places like ShopRite in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, ShopRite can be very, very crowded because of the number of businesses that operate from those from inside ShopRite, So there would need to be a very, very strict control of the number of people that actually even enter into the ShopRite, the mall itself, before the government will be able to even control the inflow of people into the different shops at the malls there. And then for the local markets, this is the part that is very, very tricky, and I really, really hope that the government is going to really, really use all the resources that they have to control this one. I'll give you a for instance, a market like Lagos Island. Guys, if you've ever been to Lagos Island, I tell you, that place, if you are looking for the number of population that we have in Lagos State, just start from there, because the number of people that go into Lagos Island on a daily basis to run their business and to shop, guys, we're talking about a million. Lagos Island is one of the most congested markets in Lagos states. Then you're talking about mile 2, you're talking about mile 12. Like, we have a lot of markets like that that are very, very congested. So if the governor is saying that these markets are allowed to open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is okay. But then, trust me, that place is going to be really congested because people are going to be shopping on a frenzy. People are going to be panic shopping because everybody's going to want to be at that market or those markets locations at the same time because they want to shop in time to get back home or get back to their locations or destinations, so that they can also adhere to the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. So my hope is that the Lagos state government has a lot of resources put in place to control this. Because I think during the time of Ebola or SARS, I think I saw something that happened at one of the markets. So they had this uniformed officials, outside the markets, and they were counting the number of people that were entering the market. So I think if about 50 people enters the market, because it's really big, they allow them into the market, and then after the 50 people leaves, I think they give them timing, to go in there and do their shopping, and then after they leave, they allow another 50 set of people inside. So I think a systematic approach like that could actually work, but if they allow like all the people into the market at the same time, and then they are saying that everybody should actually wear face mask, then I doubt if that's going to work, because trust me, a lot of Nigerians are very, very stubborn, especially those ones that go to the market. It's as if they put their ears behind them, so they don't really understand instructions. So for that one, I know that the 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is actually a very, very great idea. But then, will it work? Is it sustainable? I doubt. I doubt, because the marketplace is one of the fastest place to spread the coronavirus, So I just hope that the governor has actually put a lot of measures in place to control the crowd at the market. And I still use Lagos Island Market as another example. That place, honestly, it could be a death trap for a lot of people that will not take that instruction of wearing face mask. So to continue, he also said that eateries and restaurants will be open between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., but only for takeout and delivery services. In dining services are not allowed. All food handlers and staff must go through exhaustive health checks, temperature checks, and a high level of hygiene must be maintained. I think the food services thingy, it's been going on for a while. Yeah, it's been going on for a while, even ever since the lockdown started. It's been going on for a while. So there's no biggie regarding that. I'm very, very positive that restaurants will be able to, adhere to this particular guideline. But then my own fear is if these restaurants are going to take to heart all the measures that has been instructed, like health checks, temperature checks, and hygiene for their staff. Now, this is now the prerogative of all the restaurant owners to actually ensure that all their staff, all their cooking utensils and everything is kept like 100% clean at all costs. He also said that markets and stores will be allowed to operate from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on selected days, which will be communicated. So about the markets, places, and stores, there's no particular date for that yet on selected days when they will be open. So the governor is going to announce that very soon. I think possibly before the 4th of May, when all this thing is supposed to be effected, and said that occupancy of malls must be 60% of original capacity, and social distancing must be observed. Wash basins and hand sanitizers must also be provided. So I have said this earlier, that it is the prerogative of the security at the malls, or the Lagos state positioning strict security personnel at the entrance of every mall, to be able to control the inflow of people into those stores, into those malls as well. And this one, this is the one that I'm actually coming to, guys. This is another very, very tricky guideline. So the governor said that transportation, to reduce the risk of contagion, all commuters must wear mask, wash hands with soap, water, and sanitize with alcohol-based sanitizers. So he said vehicles, parks, and garages must be sanitized regularly and continuously. So this is a tricky one. This is very, very tricky actually. Now, I know that places like on the island, these guidelines can be adhered to some extent, but on the mainland, we're talking about places like all those Yanoba, Vokes, all those far places that leads into Ogun State. And I'm wondering, like, will the government be able to control the people that enter buses, because we have downfall buses all over the place. So normally I used to rock downfall buses a lot when I was living on the mainland. So on a normal day, on a seat, we have 4 people on a seat, 4 people on a seat, 4 people on a seat. And then there are some buses that we have 6 people on a seat. Now, those downfall buses in Lagos State, they can be very, very jam-packed and overcrowded. So how does the government or the governor, the Lagos State governor, intend to control this particular one? Because trust me, I feel like this one is one of the craziest things that to ever happen in Lagos State. Yeah, because those bus drivers, that is their only source of livelihood, if I say so myself, if I'm correct. So how does the government intend to announce and communicate to these people? Because remember, some of them are illiterate. So if you tell some of them that, hey, you must have only 2 person on a seat, 2 person on a seat, it's gonna cause a riot. People are gonna riot. Not people now, but the bus owners, the conductors, they might riot, because some of these people, as I said, they're not really that informed and educated to the point of actually understanding that, hey, we are not collecting your source of livelihood from you. We are actually just saying that for your own health and safety, carry only at least 3 people on a seat instead of 6 people on a seat. But then I don't understand. This is going to be a very, very tricky one, and I feel like this is one of those guidelines that might not be adhered to, because by the time people come out of their homes and they are rushing to go to work, and then the bus drivers, let's say they even agree to carry only 3 people on a seat, people are going to start complaining, oh, the government is wicked, government does not want us to go to work, yeah, 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 yeah. So I feel like this is the point where the government of Lagos State should now bring out all those buses that they claimed to have. Remember when they banned Okada and Keke in Lagos State, they announced that they have I think yellow taxis out, and they also have buses that I think 650 buses that can convey people from their destination to their location to their destination, wherever and whatever. So I feel like this is the right time for the governor of Lagos State to actually put to use effectively those buses. And please, do not inflate the prices, because the last time the governor brought out those buses, they totally inflated the prices by 200 naira extra. So I feel like this is the time where the governor, in as much as we respect the fact that the governor is doing an amazing job of this whole COVID-19 situation, this is the right time for him to consider the situation of most Lagosians and understand that, hey, these people have been home for over a month. A lot of people are broke. A lot of people do not have money to fund this new lifestyle that they are going to start. So instead of inflating the prices, why not reduce the cost of people using those buses? This is my frank opinion. What you guys think about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. So he said that all buses must be loaded at 60% capacity, which I have explained already. And then he said, in practical terms, if seating capacity is 10, only 6 people are allowed. Exactly my point. And I feel like this is just the right thing to do. Even 6 is even too much self. As I said, in most small Lue or downfall buses, we have about 6 people on a seat. So it should be reduced to 3 people. And these people must wear face masks, as the governor has said. He said transport operators, companies must have washing equipment and running water and soaps. Okay, now that is very tricky. How is that supposed to work at all? Okay, so let's say I'm at the bus stop and I want to board a bus, right? Let's say along the expressway. Is there going to be provision of basins of water and soap for me to wash my hand? I don't understand how this is going to work. I feel like this is going to be a very tricky thing for the government of Lagos State to actually control, but I believe that with good planning they should be able to pull it off. But talking about all this, if I'm boarding a downfall bus, I should wash my hands, guys, I think it's not just going to work. It won't. It won't, because say for instance I'm on top of third mainland bridge, or not third mainland bridge, but along all those major express, or let's say now from on the island where I am now, I decide to take a public bus, and then I want to take a bus from, let's say, Sanfield or at Echo Hotel. Is there going to be like a basin and a tap for me to wash my hands before I board the bus? Think about it. I don't know if this is going to work out though, but trust me, talking about local markets and transportation, those are the two major things, and those are the two fastest ways that this coronavirus can actually spread in Lagos State. And I hope that the government recognizes that and they are putting very, very strong measures to control all those things. And then talking about vehicles, parks and garages must be sanitized regularly. Come on. Is it the funny sanitizing machine that I saw that was trending online a couple of days back, that somebody carried generator on their back? Is that the one that they want to use to be sanitizing these places? Anyways, there was this news I saw the other day that the Oni of Ife, I think, donated some sanitizing machines or equipment to the Lagos State government. So I hope that those are the kind of machines or equipments that we are going to be using to sanitize all these garages and vehicle parks. Because if left to the illiterate downfall driver or the illiterate conductor that we have, trust me, those vehicles will not be sanitized. Let's not even kid ourselves. Let's not even deceive ourselves. They will not be sanitized. So I feel like this is now left to the government to actually do by their own selves. Like, or I don't know. I just feel like this thing might not be able to be controlled. The only and best way that this thing can be controlled is if some downfall buses are banned, and then the Lagos State government brings out their own, BRT buses or their own official buses, Otherwise, this thing might not even work at all. It might not even work at all. So guys, the government also said that um his own he said okay, so he said that he would advise that most Lagosians also take this testing serious. Anyways, guys, basically those are the new guidelines for Lagos State. If you are a Lagosian, please pay attention to these guidelines, and remember, everybody in Lagos State must wear face masks moving forward. Henceforth, that is the directive from the governor of Lagos State. So guys, all these directives, I know that some of them can be very, very tricky, and some of them might seem unsuccessful, but if we all put our hands together and work together, then I am sure that to some extent we're going to achieve amazing results. So basically, guys, that's all. I would love to know what you think about all these guidelines. I have shared my own opinion of what I think. I think that the local market thing is going to be very, very tricky, and the government would need to deploy more strict measures to control the market areas. And also the public transportation, that one cannot, I don't think it's going to be controlled at all. I don't even think it can be controlled at all. Let's not even argue about it. The only way it can be controlled, as I have said, is if some of these downfall buses are banned, yes, and if the government brings out their own 650 buses that they claimed to have already, to ease the life and movement of Lagosians, so that everybody can now adhere to Buhari's own curfew, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to read from you guys. That said, I'll see you guys in my next video. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just click on the red subscribe button, and also turn on post notifications by clicking on the white bell button. You will definitely always get alerts of my videos whenever I upload a new one. I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a nice day. Bye.